Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with our next episode. May I introduce to you Mrs. Kusum Kanwar from Mumbai. She's an entrepreneur and MD for Kangaroo Kids Kandivali Thakur Village, founder and CEO for EdUp Skills, chairperson Shield Yourself, National Core Committee member for APR Mumbai. May I welcome Mrs. Kusum Kanwar. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm great, doing good. Really excited to be here, and fantastic to be in Dehradun. In fact, lots of people. I told them, I'm coming to Dehradun, and so this being a place where I belong to as well. I'm really looking forward to this lovely discussion with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ma'am. In fact, I am privileged to have you here. So,
No, I
ma'am,
think it goes both ways. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, ma'am, my usual question that I ask everybody: what brings you into the education field? Like being from a naval
Yeah.
background and all that, like you could
Mm.
have chosen some other career also.
I think this is the best. This is one, a teacher makes all careers, right? So it's like sometimes actors say that because they wanted to be a lot of things and then they became actors. So it's the same with teachers. So I think I always wanted to be a teacher. Initially, I wanted to be a doctor and then get into the armed services. But at that point in time, we didn't have any open categories except, joining through AFMC, which I could never clear. And then I always wanted to, I think, be a teacher. And if you ask me, this is the only thing I think I will always remain a teacher all my life.
In fact, what I feel is a teacher is an eternal learner.
Absolutely. And look at us
So,
here.
ma'am, yes, because what is happening is like everybody is finding new ways of teaching these days because of the lockdown and the pandemic that's going on. So, ma'am, how would you hold this perspective of being so strong in yeah, you? Because I, as much as I know you, you are a pro in education. You do what comes to your mind and you implement it on the kids, and that is how the kids in your school always remember you, and that is how they love you, and that is how they get along with you. So, ma'am, why do you hold this perspective so strong that whatever you are thinking, that is perfect?
Um, it's not what I'm thinking, but I think this is the right thing to do at the moment. So to start with about the perspective, I just would like to start with what the World Bank education states here. So before COVID-19, students were completing an average of 11.2 years of schooling. So when adjusted for quality of learning, it became 7.9 years. So now new reports find that lost schooling to combat COVID-19 during the school closures temporarily for 5 months could result on zero point 0.6 years of schooling adjust for quality, and that is huge for children to lose this kind of
Exactly.
learning or education. So none of us here or out there is sure when the schools are going to be in the unlock mode, right? So while we know that this impact of this virus will be far reaching, what might it mean, in the longer unlock mode for schooling? So COVID-19 has made the 2019-20 school year one which we will never forget for sure. With no notice or preparation, the teachers were pitched into turn to online teaching, which we all know and which they're performing courageously. This isn't just my assessment, it's the consensus of many students and parents who have shared with me the experiences, the learning from home via technology. And also, I'm sure of all our viewers today, all the participants who are here with us today to agree to this. Now, let me add that today, all supporting parents from the three states have taken the tweet, the hashtag tweet storm by right hashtag again right to learn on Twitter. So all my friends listening in right now, kindly do so till 6 p.m. today, because this hashtag right to learn is going to be very important for us, because it's impacting us all in these three states because of no online or virtual learning that is happening. So schools are shut, and we are saying if you cannot go to school, bring your schools home. So I would like to
That is
begin
what
with our
our topic
littlest
is today.
citizens.
That's what our
Pardon?
topic is today. That's what our topic is today. Bring schools home.
Bring schools home. Absolutely. So I would like to begin with our littlest citizens, right? Because it all starts from 0 to 5 years, or from your preschool and kindergarten. For all of us, this we can't just. It's like coding. We have to go through every stage in
Exactly.
life. I would like to begin with them. So our early years, teachers, when they open, we open our doors of our homes and our hearts and minds. And I'd always like to say this at every forum, because I want to acknowledge the way they have all, risen up to this cognitive flexibility, and they're doing this day in and day out. So some states like mine have received the SOPs on no online classes, right? So only video teaching and radio is allowed at the moment. So we educators are now scrambling to take up this challenge as well. And our video teaching home based learning continues. So though we are still figuring out how to use the radio part of it, we are still continuing with our video, but we don't know how to use the radio. But we still await this positive communication from the department for further guidelines to restart. So as soon as possible, it is very important to restore, to give children structure and routine in the face of this total chaos, and we need to get normalcy as soon as possible. So, well,
Exactly.
COVID and work from home mode has changed it for all of us as teachers, for all of us as parents, and for all of us as as children as well. So that's how the perspective is.
Right. Ma'am, before we understand how to bring schools home, what will happen if school doesn't happen for a few months in the early years? Like, I don't understand what is the big deal that schools, if they don't happen for the early years, because early years kids are getting exposed to mobile phones, the radiations that are being transmitted through these mobile phones, and like they're glued to the mobile phones for 2 to 3 years. They're just continuously looking at it like this, and their
Yes.
eyes are getting strained, their bone, their neck bone, their backbone, everything is getting strained. What if it doesn't happen at all? I don't know why. I think you'll be
So
the
the,
best person to
yeah, so
answer that.
there is definitely a choice, but let's recognize, why is learning so important? First of all, in these early years. So, what I speak today is all research and neuroscience based. So, most of us know that about 90% of a brain growth happens in the early years, at the 0 to 5 years, right? So, at birth, the average baby's brain is about a quarter size of the average adult brain. So incredibly, it doubles in size in the first year, and it keeps growing to about 80% of the adult size by age 3. Understand, by age 3, 80%, and 90% nearly full grown by age 5. So just the first 5 years of a child's life are fundamentally important, and this is the foundation that shapes the children's future. So their future health, their happiness, it could be growth, it is their development, it's the learning achievements, at school, and also within the family, the community, and in life in general. So now more than ever in these unusual times, for this we need to activate the early years mind. So full support from the schools who are providing these this video learning or virtual learning for a blended remote learning to children is commendable. So, however, the responsibility to make this learning of the home-based activities, it actually rests with the parents at home during these pandemic times. We are not saying that it rests, all the times, but during these pandemic times. Now, a human brain, as we all know, is a chaotic jungle of neurons getting wired together, right? Every day it gets wired together. Early experiences have an enormous influence on children's sponge like brains. So, by providing everyday activities, that arouse your child's curiosity, you're actually helping to create those neural pathways and you're exposing them to a variety of stimuli. So early years also focus is only usually on the developmental goals. So we know that there are special challenges to every age. However, where high school children, which I'll come to later, can direct their own learning, that from the teachers along with the logistical support from the parents at home, early years need constant supervision. We need more social nourishment than academic nurturing. So that is one of the reasons why it's a big deal to be saying that no, we need this kind of stimulation and connection continuing and it has to go on. I actually can't hear you. You're on mute.
Is it clear now? Can you
Yes,
hear me now, ma'am? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. I guess this is going to be quite a gluing topic where all of us are going to be glued to our chairs and the screen. I would like to know, ma'am, what basic guidelines would you suggest for remote home based learning for early years?
So, sorry, just to help us understand its impact, how it impacts. So I can tell you the story of early years at Kangdu Kids Kandivali. That's my own school, and that helps because that is my first-hand experience there. So how the parents have brought these kindergartens home, in their own homes in collaboration with the school. So presently they are on video blended remote learning mode, each one of them within the safety net of their own home. The children cannot come to their kindergartens. We need to facilitate bringing kindergartens to their homes, right? Now, to start
Right.
with the ECA, that is the Early Childhood Guidelines, right? I'm associated with the Early Childhood and the
Yes.
paper, that's Association for Primary Education also. So that recommends giving the home school connection in three parts. It's very important for, all educators and also important for parents. Now, first, a connection is a teacher-child connection, right? That happens through the face-to-face interaction that we do with them, online or through video chats. Now, and remote home-based learning activities that we suggest to a parent. So that's between the teacher and the child. Second is between the parent and the child. So it's a parent and child interaction. So these activities that parents can do with their children, okay, at home. Again, ensure there's no stress on academics. They can have fun videos to watch together on phonics, on numbers, games and activities. And these games and activities do not need to have any screen time actually. Then there is a third, you can say learning activity, a connection that we recommend, through ECA is child independent activities. Now, what is that? It's about doing home chores that a child can do with minimal help, or they can do a yoga. So today being International Yoga Day, so we wish everyone
A
a
very
happy yoga
happy
as
International
well.
Yoga Day.
As well. So they can do this with minimal help. So Early Childhood Association, we strongly recommend that the connection between the teacher and the child should continue even during the lockdown until these preschools or daycares open. This is important because we have already given you the three ways of connecting with the child. So we have got two at home, but that teacher connection is also very important.
Right, right. So, like, ma'am, in my past discussions also, we have been discussing, promoting, and wishing that parents, teachers, they come on single platform to the betterment and development of a child. Like, I personally believe that until and unless we come together, walk hand in hand, like it's never going to be possible,
Very
because
true.
if even if you remember when we were kids, we were scared that our parents will complain to our teachers, and when we were in school, we were scared our teachers are going to complain to our parents. So that is what is missing today.
Okay, it
So,
is.
like, I have always wished that why don't we all come together on a single platform and work for the overdevelopment of the child, overall development of the child, because that is the
Absolutely.
most important thing, and that is the reason why we all are working so hard. And today, you and me are sitting here in
Yeah.
lockdown.
Very true. Yeah. That's so fantastic. Look at us. You're in Dehradun. I'm in Mumbai. We never even thought that, I can talk to
Exactly.
Neha
This
like
this
this.
could be
And I can
possible.
just, yeah, and have a platform like this. I mean, I had to come in January all the way to Dehradun, to be a part of your great event that happened. So I think we can do that online as well. So look
Exactly.
at
We
it
can
from
do
this
that
point of
online.
yeah. So you look at it from this of time as well. And also these
In fact,
partnerships, which I'll be
yes.
talking about it, towards the end when we are assimilating everything, I think these partnerships will be very well understood by everybody.
Exactly. Exactly. Ma'am, how do you deal with the screen time aspect when it comes to learning for early years?
Right.
How do
So,
you deal with it?
as it is, you mentioned about children being glued, to their mobile phones, or children are watching content sometimes not meant for them, you know, and they're
Yes.
watching it on television or they're watching it also on mobile phones. We don't
Yes.
blame the adults around because they are also grappling with work issues and are unable to give them enough time. So in this scenario, when a child gets this age appropriate engagement as videos or virtual classes and appropriate solutions from schools, as these are sent to children from school only after it's verified by them. So I don't see there's any harm in them watching these videos. So it's also one thing where we plop in front of a TV screen and binge watch, right? They all binge watch their favorite shows. We watch it for hours on end, but that's not exactly the best, use of child's time. So have this limited and smart use of screen time with blended learning, which has to be brought in. Activities should be planned in a way that it moves from one to the next in a matter of 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, depending upon the attention span of the child. So mainly get on to a songs, dance, because this is how what we do with children online, right? We are narrating
Exactly.
stories, we are playing games with them, we are teaching yoga, we are laughing, we're exchanging smiles, we are counting objects, then we name colors, we are guessing letters, and so much more. So this can be achieved through, introducing all this through play to children. As children develop their foundational, social, emotional, their executive functioning, their decision making and academic skills through play, and that can be achieved virtually with the teachers and parents at home. So often,
Mhm.
early childhood educators like all of us, we often act as facilitators to build upon children's natural curiosity, and we
Mhm.
inspire play. So play has to be inspired. It's not that go and play. So we are also curating spaces in schools with open-ended
Exactly.
materials that ignite the child's engagement with each other and their surroundings. So now at home or during these times, parents can do it as well.
I
Because I
think
thought,
like God has in a way
yeah,
given the workaholic parents a time who are not able to spare time for their
yes,
kids or give time
absolutely.
together. Their me time, their us time was completely missing. Today, God has forcibly given them time, and now the officers also cannot say that no, we cannot give you a holiday.
Yeah, true, true, true. Very true,
So,
very
ma'am,
true. See, times have changed. Yes.
like you just mentioned that there are going to be spaces that are going to be required at home. What kind of spaces will be required at home to bring schools home for preschoolers? Basically, we are discussing preschoolers
Preschools at the
right
moment.
now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because the older ones don't require that. So I'll also come to that.
they're all
So,
trained. They are nearly trained for it.
yeah, so they don't require that. In fact, they require their own personal space. They don't require
Exactly.
spaces at home. So we can strategize here. We can do some design thinking and rearranging some corners of our home. and a few physical spaces that are around. So when you'll have the luxury of space, I'm talking about spaces in cities like Mumbai or Delhi or the metros. But Dehradun, of course, and also smaller towns have a plethora of, you've got the advantage of having lawns, and you can have so much more to do over there. So in schools, we teach children concepts, creating a lot of informal settings. Sometimes a kitchen corner, we have reading corners, we create these doll corners or doll houses. Now, a school is generally a model around four learning zones to the learners, right? As we all know, because all preschool practitioners will know, there's a physical zone where activities affecting your learning, your movement, that which stimulates your connections in the brain, right? Then is your social emotional development. There's a zone that's essential for our self awareness and development of our self esteem, right? The third is your cognitive and language development, which is important, that impacts the way children think, how they develop understanding and apply these to solve the problems. Now, fourth, very, very important again, is your cooperative learning zone, which focuses on how children apply this learned knowledge. So your homes already have all the informal settings, right? Where children have free movement to access these automatic surroundings. So, however, in schools, we need to create these. So, by just dividing your homes into zones is a game changer for children and for you. Example, you can have, a library area that can be created using throw cushions to have low seating, have storybooks at a height which could easily be reached by children. A cooperative zone that's created in another corner, but the child chooses to do some activities by themselves. They can do painting, they draw, they write, and you can set up a storytelling zone also, in this area. So every time children change their settings and physiology, in fact, even all of us, the moment we change our physiology, it helps stimulating and energizing our brains. So we have these
Exactly.
energizers, right? Even for adults. So if I just break into a dance right now, so my whole system and my whole mood, is different and it's changed. So let me also touch upon the science behind the activities that are designed for early years, right? So what are these? So they are based, as you also know, Ms. Reena, that they're based on not five but seven developmentally age-appropriate skills in early years.
Exactly.
Language skills, but that is preceded by listening skills, because that's what we don't pay attention to. But listening, language. Then we've got physical, we've got social, we have emotional, cognitive. That means, in cognition, I don't mean just academics, but I mean focus and precision. Also, your sense of balance for children, that's so important, and sense of body awareness. Very simply, if parents are listening, I would like to say that, any activity or action done with children needs to impact their brain, their muscles, and the senses in the children every day. Very, very simple. It's as simple as that. That's how you can design, your homes accordingly, based on your
Because
seven developmental areas
I
and
think
also the zones.
I think that is how Kangaroo Kids has also been designed somehow, because
Absolutely.
I went to visit Kangaroo Kids Kharghar when I
All
was
right.
in Navi Mumbai. So it was not very far from my place, but I really loved the ambience there. They had different corners. They had the kitchen corner, the supermarket corner, the medical corner, like a clinic, a doctor's clinic. There was a
Mm,
workshop. There was this
mm,
Lego wall, and then there was the sand corner, the water corner. Like that is what our kids require.
absolutely.
Even in the minimum area specified there, they had everything a child should need. That is how how I feel our kids should grow up. They
Very true.
should they should get the knack of everything. They should know how to do everything. That is
Everything.
how they'll become more confident, because all these activities, what I personally feel as educationist is that they develop confidence, they develop their thinking process improves, because
Absolutely.
like this can easily be set up at home. Even the parents can
Mhm.
involve with the kids in big, let's play a doctor's game today, or let's play kitchen today. That's how we called it when we were
Yeah,
kids.
absolutely. Yeah, घर घर खेलते थे हम, and
घर घर
all that.
खेलते थे, and then
Yeah,
we used
yeah.
to like get into all sorts of things. Like today, okay, I'm a teacher, you are a student. Like
Mm,
this is how
mm.
we developed. That is how we
Right,
grew up. But today,
absolutely.
what I personally feel, and I'm really very sad for that, is that kids are just glued up to mobiles.
Mm.
Their like the cognitive developments and other developments are just come to a standstill.
Absolutely. So we are
In
giving
this,
you solutions, na? We are giving
yeah,
you, how
that's what
actually a preschool operates. So,
exactly.
so we are telling you that this is what we keep in mind. Even a small thing like, even spaces, and what are the children thinking, what we'll achieve through this. Because I'll come to the activities later, and then we know that exactly how we curate all these things even in
In
school.
fact, ma'am, I would request you, rather not suggest you, I would request you to please tell our parents to dwell, please tell some of the activities to students, for students, which
I
parents can get involved, and like they can do something that is very different, and they can send it to us, so that we can put it on our channel also,
will.
and we can tell them that, see, this is what can be done for the kids.
No. In fact, you can take you can take my activities that we have been doing,
Definitely, ma'am.
and if
Definitely,
that is going to
definitely.
help you and help the other parents, why not? We can do that.
Definitely, ma'am, because I am planning to have a special episode wherein
Okay.
we will be having
Wow.
only activities that can be put up in front of the parents, and they can do it also.
Absolutely. So all the activities that I'll suggest to you towards the latter part after we cover the older children as well. So are all tried and tested. Everything that we have done in our schools for our children,
Exactly.
and some which the parents have done at home, and then that's how they have shared it with us.
Right, right, right. Ma'am, we have been discussing since past half an hour, we've been discussing about preschoolers. That is the formative year, of
Yeah.
the future of a child. And now, what when the child starts growing up? What happens for the older students?
Right. So
Because
for
that is a very confusing
yeah,
stage, a very
absolutely.
confusing, a very disruptive age, where if they, I call them unguided missiles, they are unguided missiles,
Yeah, yeah. So
which
the guidance is with us, na? So that
exactly,
rests with us. So then I think somewhere they are not unguided. So if we are unguided, so we can't guide them. So it's
definitely,
very
ma'am,
important, yeah.
definitely,
So very important for us to be very clear as to what we want with these children. Now, with
yes,
these older children, for them, actually technology, like as we were talking about just before we started, as to how your son is eating away all your data, and he's playing and things
exactly,
like this. So for them, technology is simply an extension, of their own consciousness, and moving to virtual learning becomes a way of life for them. It has,
exactly,
they have taken it more smoothly, and most easily they have taken it. But however, changes in skills and attitudes, that is exactly what we are talking about, unguided missiles. You can change this, the attitudes. That will be a major shift that will be required to be guided by schools and facilitated by parents at home. Okay, so today,
exactly. That
more
is
than
that is
ever,
where
yes, that's the
exactly that is
crux of
where
it.
parents and teachers need to come together to tame these
Absolutely,
unguided missiles.
absolutely. But I would not call them that. For me, they are the
Ma'am,
innovators and
actually,
the
ma'am, what
creators.
happens is the age group from 13 to 18, that's really, really very crucial for the parents and students and teachers as well. And that is where, most of the problems creep up.
No, I would beg
Behavioral
to differ
issues.
with you here. I would say that if you get your early years right, everything is going to be, because you'll be guided in such a way that this thing will never come to you. But anyway, so let's go to actually what is it that more than any other time, that more than ever today, life is a teacher, right? And time is a teacher. So we have tweaked all our cognitive flexibility for all of us. So what I mean by cognitive flexibility, so I as a teacher and there are so many other teachers who have moved from the way we were teaching, or the way we are. Say for me, it is like the way I was doing my workshops. Even things like if I've just taken things like emotional development or personality development. So I have done that online, virtually, which I would never have thought of, in normal times. So that's my cognitive flexibility. How you have come online, how children are doing, how teachers are from traditional teaching to how they have come online, and that's what they're doing with children. So everyone, even parents who are in the work from home mode, they've also changed, right? They're working at home and they're working from home. So and for children, it's building up the new age skills, right? That is a requirement. So I would think that it's all skill development that's required. I'll just take a sip.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think it's all the new age skills that is required and is
Ma'am,
published
please,
by
please,
the
ma'am, you
World
can
Economic
rest for a while. You can rest
Forum.
for a
Yeah.
while.
I think I was sucking on this vitamin C, so that is what is going and getting onto me. So I would talk about the the new age skills, that's required, which is very rightly published by the World Economic Forum, that the new age skills employers are looking for. What are they? They are cognitive flexibility, their negotiation skills, their service orientation, their judgment and decision making, emotional intelligence, coordinating with others, there's people management. So where is the academics that is involved in this? It's mainly to do with a lot of skills. It's to do with complex problem thinking. All that can be achieved at home. So today in this VUCA world, and what I mean by a VUCA world is your volatile, is uncertain, is complex, is ambiguous world, which is already at our doorstep. So in this lockdown mode, schools and families together will need to figure out their responsible roles in assisting schools for the children, where the larger role needs to be played by the parents at home. And it is a good time to reflect on how this disruptive crisis can help us define what learning should look like for this generation Z and the generation Alpha and beyond. Because as far as the generation Z and Alpha are concerned, for them, as I told you, technology is simply an extension of their own consciousness and their identity with the social media. So moving to a virtual classroom now becomes a way of life for them, right? The schools have moved to remote learning environments and are providing online classrooms that bring together their virtual face-to-face connection, right? All your assignments, your conversations that you have with your teachers, it's all on a single platform now, which is either accessible on your mobile. The best thing is to give them desktops or to give them laptops, right? So today, as I look at it, education is nudged and it's pushed to change. So we are seeing learners, all our children and teachers actually truly embracing learning anywhere, anytime. So if anyone has a challenge, it's actually the others, right? It's the parents who feel that, okay, children are doing nothing, they are only sitting on mobiles, but children and teachers have embraced this, this learning anywhere and anytime. The concept of digital education in a range of formats is available to us, right? So this generation in the unlock mode too will see the power of working collaboratively to solve the world's biggest challenges, right? They are
Right.
more attuned to climate change issues that are happening. Also, now mental health well-being is on top of the agenda for many of the children as well. So all their blended learning, their flipped classrooms, they're using artificial intelligence will all become, soon. We used to talk about it, but now it's going to become a reality. So schools are witnessing a huge change in perspectives. And to help children continue to develop these skills, so rather than trying to recreate the school content by assigning extra worksheets, or I always say don't give them extra flashcards to make or textbook lessons. Parents need to support facilitation by schools at home. That is very essential because everything is changing, and children are they are as on your platform also lots of people have said that they are digital natives, right? They already are, and it's an extension of their own consciousness. So I would think that change has to come from us, from the adults.
Ma'am, we have been continuously discussing about the changes that we need to make in our systems, in our methodologies, our pedagogies. How easy or challenging is it for the generation to embrace the change in methodology and pedagogies?
So it is all about perspective again and our attitudes, right? So in this lockdown, the risk control decisions, you know, by the governments or by everybody, it has led to millions of students into a temporarily, let me know, it's a temporary learning at home situation, not learning at home mode. Now, there are many signs that suggest that it could have it can have a lasting impact on the path of learning, that points at a lot of future transformations for children, also for parents. And homeschooling too can be one of them, right? So, parents, we need to be prepared for it. So the majority of students in all educational institutions today are from belong to the generation Z, or they are a generation that has grown up in this truly globalized world, right? Now, this generation is likely to be reflecting on the education, on their education itself, as to what happened to them. What hit us in these 3 months. None of us knew that it was coming, right? So even they are reflecting on their education as a result of this global pandemic. So as many of them have faced, many have faced cancelled exams, no sporting events, or even physical graduation ceremonies for many. I've seen even from our own, sees there is, I think, Deepika Chawla's daughter who took
Yes,
an online graduation. So they are missing out
exactly.
on that physical ceremonies, right? Also, as this generation is defined by technology, so terms like FOBA or FOMO. All right, so we have taken time to understand what FOBA is. That's fear of being alone, right? Or FOMO, fear of missing out. So they express the expectations of instant communication and feedback. They're using instant messenger, they're using Snapchat, and they're using WhatsApp. They're not speaking much, so they're using all this, and it is being amplified by the current trends in learning, and this is going to continue. So, undoubtedly, education for Generation Z is deeply intertwined with technology. Generation Alpha, the children of the millennials, are the most racially, they are most diverse generation across the world, and in which technology is simply an extension, like I keep telling you, it's of their own consciousness. Okay, it's
Conscious.
it's being a way of life for them. So this is also a generation that sees the power of working collaboratively on on a lot of things like like climate change or mental health, and at present the collective responsibility. I've seen this with lots of children to self isolate and to protect older members of the community. When we are talking on different platforms on mental health, so there are lots of these things coming up where parents say that they don't listen to us. So the children are saying that parents are not listening to us. Because how dangerous it is for them to go out, or how dangerous it is to be moving out when when we all know that if they contact this kind of virus, it's not going to be very easy for them to get well soon. So they have this kind of collective responsibility. So we need to take that extra precaution as to how we guide our children. So that's very important. That's very important for us.
That's really very important because there is no stop to this cases, the cases, if we look at the census, the cases are
Right.
increasing day and night they are
Absolutely.
increasing. So ma'am, what are the innovative ways in which we can teach our older students? Then you can tell us what activities to teach in the early years as well, because
Right.
both the even the preschoolers and the older students, both of them require proper guidance, proper way to spend their time, instead of now I'll talk as a parent.
Right. Right.
Suppose I would definitely want that somehow or the other my child follows a proper routine.
Right.
But most of the kids, they want to get up at their own time, they want to sleep at their own time. If we tell them you have to be on time, like most of the parents have discussed it with me also, ma'am, we are not able to understand how to bring them on track. And what happens is, if we force them, no, you have to sleep, if we be dominant on them, they retaliate, because they don't have anything to do, they don't have any place to go out, they are glued up, in fact they are locked in the four walls of the house. And the only friend with them is, they cannot go and mix up with their friends, the only friend is either mobile or laptop or TV. They are rather
So,
becoming more idiot
yeah.
box, they are rather becoming more idiot box addicts.
Yeah, true. And I would say that partly we are responsible for it as adults, because so teaching life skills will be very crucial and pertinent at this point, right? So in this
Yeah,
ever-changing global environment where young people require resilience, they require adaptability. So all this what you're talking about can be covered with these kind of skills. And these are the kind of skills that are proving to be essential, right, for us also to navigate effectively through this pandemic. So, how are we doing it? Where have we learned all this from, right? So, looking into the future, some of the most important skills that employers, like I've already told you, will be looking for creativity, will be looking for communication, will be looking for collaboration, alongside empathy and emotional intelligence. So, and being able to work across demographic lines of differences, right? And it's very important. So we need to inculcate these skills like resilience, adaptability, which will be crucial for the next generation entering work. Now, the curriculum content will see innovations to optimize learning. A hybrid form of education is emerging. And what I mean by hybrid is that which is a blend of online and in school mode for peer connection. And we as parents need to encourage that, right? We have to do these blended, flipped, and hybrid modalities. Now, further on, traditional in-person new learning modalities from live broadcast to educational influencers to virtual reality experiences will be order of the day. So let's start preparing, because if you and I can talk like this, why can't our children do that? Because we need to get them educational influencers who talk to them. Who are we are talking virtually, and we have reality experiences about it. And the innovative ways is, we can find innovative ways to make this COVID moment a teachable moment. Teach it from COVID itself, right? And most of the schools, I know Mumbai schools or the international schools are adapting to something like this way. And that's how I also know that this happens. So in this pandemic, everything has changed overnight, right? For everyone. For our
exactly.
children, it's changed for our parents, it's changed for teachers, it's changed for schools. So the learning evolution is about how we change the system slowly, and how we are imparting education, or how we are giving them learning or methodology. How is our approach, our practice that is being given to the children? Because evolution is the essence of life, and learning is nothing but an internal part of our life, right? So the day we stop
Exactly.
learning, we stop living. So when we speak of this evolution in learning, it's not just the technological changes, right? But we are all thrown into But how are we going to use this technology? Like I just told you that it is an extension of their own social consciousness. So why are we not able to guide them properly? Why are we not giving them innovative ways to make this coronavirus a teachable moment? So when the world feels dangerous, harnessing learning can provide, and we've seen it with ourselves. So when everything outside is shut, what have we all done? We have harnessed our learning, and we are also providing some measure of clarity and perspective to ourselves to give the same perspective to children. So the massive public health challenge of COVID-19, so in spite of its many unknowns, actually offers teachers the unique opportunity to tap into the students' curiosity about the virus. Have we spoken about the virus to our children apart from telling them that, go wash your hands, wear a mask? It's very dangerous. This is what is happening. We have not sat them down and we have not spoken to them about what we can learn from this, right? So, and students are curious. So, where do they find this information from? If they don't get it in the physical world from us, then they go to the net because that is
Exactly.
a very safe haven for them. That internet doesn't judge them. That net doesn't judge them. We as people do that, right? So apart from telling them it's life threatening, go wash your hands, wear a mask, maintain physical distancing, etc., etc., we are missing an opportunity to prompt, to dig deep, and ideally to provide a degree of comfort during times of these alarming headlines. And there are numerous half truths that go around, which we are not doing anything about it. So, what we can do is some simple concepts that work well for your younger children, like why hygiene matters. And by younger here, I mean is your primary, upper, till middle school. Why
Exactly.
hygiene matters and how germs spread, to more complex topics like ethical decision making, the science behind how viral infections work, or the math underpinning pandemics. Teachers and parents can find ways to help children rise above this commotion and with unique thoughtful lessons, and that's important. So I would say that it's math behind pandemics. That's math. We consider it strictly a rational discipline, so let's have some interdisciplinary here. It can play an important emotional and psychological role during these uncertain times, giving students productive tools to battle fear and misinformation. Are we doing that? We are not. We are only
No.
judging them, right? So for young people, it can be a way to motivate their learning of math also. So there is Professor Wang, who I follow in his, what he does in his school. So I quote him here. So where teaching about exponential growth might have them, scratching their heads in the classrooms, now we can show that these models are being used in hospitals to calculate things like how many ventilators or how many hospital beds will they need. So in one scenario, Wang also uses the Las Vegas ground zero for worldwide pandemic, right? So he says that there are 40 million people who visit this little patch of land and they stay there for a couple of days and then go back home. So he can ask students to evaluate the sources of information they're reading, and where possible, get them to think about how other disciplines such as biology or the social sciences that are involved in it. So the idea is to
Exactly.
get students to think like a scientist and consider the consequence of questions that need to be asked and answered in order to make sense of virus. Another is virology and biology. So you can complete a whole unit of virology related to scaffolding of learning that more closely relates to real life scientific inquiry. Why can't we do that? Then is journalism. Teach students to become storytellers, to find and tell the unique stories that exist as a result of living through this pandemic, right? In fact, you should think of getting some children to do the storytelling for you, you know, and correctly and interestingly they will do it because it's powerful learning experience that not only helps to prepare your children to become, civically engaged. Because here we don't we are teaching them civics, but we are not letting them experience it, right? And we want them to be productive adults, but we also are not giving them a chance to be that, but also to process the extreme changes that they're coping through with the result of the coronavirus. So for teenagers, like yours. Every day is an entire period in their life. So consider it
Yes.
that way. The 24 hours are like an entire period in their life. And how are we engaging them? So much happens for them in one day, in one moment, right? So they are feeling this in many ways we don't understand as adults, because we are just busy telling them, that they don't understand and they're misguided and, things like that. And being able to express themselves by writing, imagine this, if they are able to write, story tell, or make videos, not just for their friends, but for people outside of their space, is really, really powerful and allows them to explain what it feels like, what it feels for them to feel inside. We've not even tried it with our children. So I think we must let them become makers of history. That's something very, very important or very interesting, because I'm a history student myself. So let them become makers of history, I tell. So when teachers ask students to journal, right, we always ask children to write and to journal, to make sketches or videos or other forms of expression. What are they doing? They're harnessing a powerful tool for providing an outlet for the students' feelings, right? So at the same time, journaling also allows students to create a record of their daily life. Let's try it. I think you must try it with your son
I
and
think
for
that's
all
that's
parents.
that's really that's really going to help the parents as well. And as later I mentioned, unguided
Right.
missiles. By unguided missiles, I mean those kids whose parents are also working from home, who are not able to give time even being at home, because it's not that it's easy for the parents to work from home. They have their own schedules, they have their own slots where they have to be in. And by the at times what happens is the online classes and their schedule, it clashes, and that is where they get unguided. And
Mm,
what we can do is we can set different formats for them, like parents and teachers, they parents and students, sorry, parents and children, what they can do is they can come together and do innovative ideas. Like my younger one, like we created fountains for our garden, and that
absolutely.
was really very interesting. That was
Very
really very
interesting.
interesting.
Very
Like
interesting.
he was so excited that he was just doing, I just had to say it and he did it. Like he was working
And
like a
record.
genie.
Yeah. So
Yes,
record these moments. Record these
exactly.
things.
we
So
did
this
we
is what
did that.
happens.
We made the fountains, we made a wonderful video, and I think I shared it with you also, and that
Make
was
his,
like
yeah. So make his video doing it. Because that is his time. That's his story. This is what he did during he's making history. And
exactly.
history is actually not made by they the historians go and collect these snapshots from the ordinary people, how they look at COVID, or how they looked at pandemic at that time. Of course they will have very significant people in that, but it is not going to just be the stories of the big people. It is going to be stories of all of us, of all our children, of all of us as regular citizens. So I always say that, for children, this new normal stands in stark contrast to life just 3 months ago. Life was so easy. It was so easy for us to move around, but it's a stark contrast. So let them doodle, let them write, let them think, let them imagine, let them paint, let them dance, let them express emotions in any way they can. Take up music, learn coding, right? Learn something new.
Exactly.
Pick up a hobby. Yeah,
That's
pick up a hobby like he did gardening, right? So when future
yes.
historians actually sit down to write a story of life during coronavirus, these first person accounts may prove useful. Like I just said, history isn't usually by the big wigs of the era. Even if there are some of it, they may be the main characters. Instead, it is often reconstructed from the snapshots of ordinary life like ours. So the important point here is that this is something children can do without computers as well. So you don't need computers for this. It's a way to think about what's going on in my family, what's going on in my neighborhood, and the world around me. Also, we
Exactly.
need to, asking hard ethical questions even at this point in time. Now, the students around the world are grappling with these new realities of life during this pandemic, right? So there's ample opportunity for teachers to fold these current events into lessons and provide opportunity. So I'm I hope there are teachers and there are parents who are also listening to this, because these are great opportunities, and especially for your middle and high school age children, for debates and critical thinking. So when done well, these may open the door for students to experience empathy. Again, we're talking about skills like empathy, self-reflection, and even personal growth. So, for example, teachers might, take this report news where reports from Italy, where doctors were facing an overburdened healthcare system. Okay, so students can decide which patient stands better chance of surviving, and then deny care to the sickest. Now, with this type of sensitive topic, teachers might give some students the opportunity to opt out because it's sensitive. They might not want, someone not to be given this care, and but some are okay about it. So they may, she may ask them to opt out to pick another subject, such as exploring the digital divide, right? That is also happening in our international schools, and some schools that are not able to get this digitally, they are not able to go online, reflecting the social justice issues that it raises, also the domestic violence that is happening. So there are different ways that we can engage children. Another very important thing is your media literacy. Okay, teachers can play an important part in improving students' skills at determining what's true and what isn't. Very important, right? When it comes to
Exactly.
online information, especially now when the online WhatsApp hoaxes, online university is very, very, active, and they are getting it because they're all on WhatsApp and they're on mobiles, right? Which is out there in abundance. Now, students can learn how to evaluate that source. So teach them how to evaluate that source. You know how to go to professional fact checkers. You can go on to that. You can teach them to go onto the net, and that's where they can go into the source and see whether this is right or wrong. Because we have done that, and there are so many you can say myths that are being busted because of this. And this is all not rocket science, but it's not often taught in schools or even at home. So let's not create a generation of bubble children who never develop the immunity needed to ward off these toxins that float around on their Facebook or on their social media feed, where students, or from their WhatsApp, from where they get their this kind of feed. So now you wanted to know something about the
Yes, ma'am.
earlier activities. Can I move on to that?
Yes, ma'am. Please,
So,
please, ma'am.
so before I move on to that, let me tell you a very small story of a grandfather who's an 89-year-old grandfather, and I like to relate that mostly, on my platform because this is so powerful. So that is a grandfather's wish, for his grandchildren. So you might think that he wished them riches or successful careers, great health, great education, maybe even riches, and but no, his response was, I want them to be able to get back each each time when they fall down. Isn't that what we want for all our children, right? That the strength of character, we want the skills for resilience, a warm toughness. So children need the skills to be empathetic and caring. They need to learn to manage their emotions very essentially. So we have the right time to role model it as parents. This is the time, and so let's stand up to it. Now, coming back to the examples of your home-based activities, I would like to recommend the blended remote learning manual by the ECA. And if anyone is interested, Miss Reena, they can write into you for in the chat, and also we can post it to them. Right now, an
Right.
example. There are lots of examples. I'll just pick up a few, and also in art and painting, lots of examples. But I'll give you this blow painting technique that we can do as home-based learning. That's using a straw, right, to blow
Exactly.
paint on a paper. It's a very simple activity, but we can do it there.
We've
So,
got sponge tapping also. We've got so many other painting. Like we've got
yes,
sponge tapping.
yes,
We've got fork painting. We've got
absolutely.
vegetable painting, thumb painting. Like there are almost 19, 20 of them, which parents can get involved and the child can really do wonderful.
Absolutely. So why I take this glow painting is because it raises a lot of thinking and curiosity, and parents need to have that kind of patience because teachers do this in school. So we pose a question to them where we say, where we get the children to start thinking before they begin the art form. And so, we can ask the children, how can I get the paint to move and dance around the paper using just a straw? So let them think, give
Yes.
them time, wait for the answers to come. Keep it in mind that this technique encourages exploration, it encourages investigation and scientific thought, right? So the question encourages a conversation, and that's what will build your social emotional connection. It's a simple art with lots of fun for children, and you can engage your children from 10 minutes to 20 minutes in one activity and then move on. Also, storytelling, which is so important for all of us. So this is done in schools that can also be taken through, like how in schools we do active engagement, we do through dress up, we do dance with them. We tell stories through images, through picture books. We have math equations, we have songs. So these are the most fundamental ways in which we can communicate. So let's do that. And because we know stories help children to develop empathy, again, cultivate imagination, divergent thinking, and developing critical thinking skills. So, as learning and
Exactly.
skill building cannot stop, cannot pause for these few months, as children will lose about 5 to 10% of the brain development growth if we do not make the right stimulations and connections with them now, right? We can also do things like seed germination. It's a good time to do it during monsoons also. So when you're exposing your children to seed germination, it can be mostly casual conversations, okay, around seed germination and around sprouting. So the point to keep in mind here is on conversations that in itself is the most powerful learning tool. Your children, what are they doing? They're exploring, they're discovering, creating, and seeing a plant grow. So this is real. This is real experiential learning. Okay, growing your own microgreens at home. How great is that, right? So we can do a whole lot of these things, and also you can add in a few more if you want to do that. But I would say that let them have fun, let them play, and especially focus on physical activities. Let them throw balls, wash bikes, water plants, clean their own rooms, and this leads to a full day of not only physical development but
Even
also
even
social.
involve them in we can even involve them in cleaning our cars,
Very true. And why
because
not?
it's
And
anything we are involving them, they're learning through it.
absolutely. And then talk to
And our
them. It's
main
not that okay.
exactly and our
Yeah,
main motive is to just teach them how to face life, how to handle it as it comes.
very true. Very true.
Ma'am, right now we've been talking about the normal schooling and everything. Like, as far as I know, you have been involved with special education needs also. So that is a very sensitive and a very touching topic, wherein like not every parent is ready to accept the fact that yes, my child does have a problem. They keep on blaming the child that he doesn't want to do it. He's careless. He's busy playing. He's busy doing. What would you like to say for this? Like, how can we help these kids perform better during because these kids, they are full of energies, they are full of thoughts, they have a very different thinking perspective, everything is different. The only thing is they do not come into the we cannot push them as we cannot push them into a rat race of percentage, but yes, in other fields they are excellent, they excel in those fields. What would you suggest parents who are facing all these problems with their kids, like if a child is not ready to do the work, what, like how can they motivate him to do that?
So again, it's Ms. Reena, it's all about perspectives and it's all about your attitudes. For me, every child is special, right? So even like we run an inclusive school, and when I have about 10 students sitting in front of us, we do have special children there. So you need to give them that kind of attention. It's all about, it's very simple for us, when we because I'm not an expert in special needs, but I
Sorry,
do have a
sorry to
very special
interrupt.
corner. Yeah,
Why I put up this question was because I know you had a inclusive school. Your school is inclusive, so
absolutely.
I thought like I can have some expert comments from you that can be a bit helpful for parents.
So I would not treat them any different. It is, it's just that they need more time. If if my mainstream child can do something in 10 minutes, I'll give that child another activity to go and do, and I will concentrate on on my one particular child. And if he's not getting by, just keep, have patience. I think the thing that we lack with all our children
Exactly, that
is,
is
yeah,
patience.
we don't give them time. We don't give them enough activities to do themselves. Now I'll share one cooking activity that happened not with us, but it happened at home with my parents, and they involved the child, and it was making besan laddus. Okay. Now, making besan laddus was, first of all, why I like to give this example, because I love besan laddus, and I think all of us, most of, even my friends are watching, they love besan laddus as well. And this child, particular child, loves besan laddus. Now, the father and the son and the daughter, so all three of them, they molded these laddus, and they were having a lot of fun. And so, what is it that we are, communicating through this? Okay, because this is a huge learning, or not only developing the child's fine motor skills, it's also enhancing the five senses that are involved here, collaboration with the family. Most importantly, what are we instilling? We are instilling beating gender stereotypes. So when both the father and the son are molding these laddus, they are doing cooking together and other household chores, like washing utensils. So involve children and do it with them. So if one child takes 5 minutes and the other child takes 10 or 15 for it, it is, it's after all our child, and we need to have that kind of patience as adults. We don't have the patience. Eventually, every child learns. Let me tell you, eventually every child learns. One learns
Every,
in one day, the second learns in 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, 15 days,
exactly.
but they all learn. So we need to change our mindset. We need to deal with these children, not how we are dealing with them right now. So very important, right?
Right.
So I hope,
Ma'am,
yeah,
I think my question is quite a bit answered because I got this question from some parent who wants to
all
know
right.
about it. Yeah. So, ma'am, some strategies for parents to be positive towards remote blend home based learning so that it is an enjoyable experience for everybody, be it
Absolutely.
teachers,
Yeah.
parents, students, everybody. Because what is happening is like, I don't know, what I feel is somewhere or the other, they are really getting confused,
Hmm.
ho- what is going to be the state in future, they've been asking when will the schools open. I think this is what nearly everybody is worried about. When will the
Absolutely.
schools open?
Yeah, very true. And are they brave enough to send their children once it's open?
I don't
I
think
don't,
so.
I don't think the right platform for me to ask, but are they brave enough? So that's why I'm saying that, get schools home, because
Exactly.
it's a very difficult decision. It's a very, if the government tells me to open schools tomorrow, I will open, but then the choice is yours. The main opinion is yours, what you want to do.
Exactly.
So,
At least as a parent, at least I will not send my son to school until there is a solid background that says that yes, my child is safe.
So it's not that the schools will not do everything to keep the children safe, but I don't know whether we are going to open them soon or not.
बट वो हम
So
लोगों के
when we are
उसमें
talking,
हिंदी में एक कहावत है ना, माँ बाप का दिल माँ बाप का ही रहेगा, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए वो लोग उनको किसी भी तरह से प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, एंड दे विल
absolutely,
डेफिनेटली वांट दैट देयर चाइल्ड इज इन अ सेफ zone. Though we
absolutely.
will be doing our best to bring our kids back to school because we too are missing them.
Right, true, true, true. Very true. So when you talk about the strategies, Ms. Reena, so children presently are cooped up at home. Okay, parents are also with them, and it's 24/7. So people are busy. It's a work from home and a work at home mode. So same thing even applies to me. I don't know how parents with small children are managing, because even I need to I struggle. A few days where some of my chores are left, because if I have to do few sessions like this, so we are unable to give them quality time, right? And we are at times irritable about it, because everyone's saying give them time, do this and do that, and everyone's saying that this is your time. Time we always want a time with our children, but now when you have it, why aren't you happy? Now understand, happiness in these crucial times for children is most important emotion, right? And
Exactly.
to keep children safe and healthy. This time will move on. This will go away, but they will. What will stay with them is how we made them feel at this time, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, it will help parents to borrow a few strategies from the early years educators, or all the other teachers. Okay, to get the best learning for the child at home. First of all, very important, like even you said, Ms. Reena, about maintaining schedules. Children need structure, okay, and schedules, and they thrive on it. This also promotes, by giving them schedules, you have also done one bit of it, one part of it, where you've sat down with them and created that, and then the next day they follow it. So you also have a little bit of a free time, okay, because this promotes independence in children as well. Also, you need to expect more from your children. Why I'm saying that? More in what sense? So in schools, we expect the children to pour their own water, to eat their own snack. We ask them to stack away their own plates, to hang up their own jackets. But at home, let them do it. Why are we doing it for them? In fact, ask them to help us. Okay? Resist doing for them what they can do for themselves. Make your
Exactly.
child more self-sufficient. Also, don't redo what they have done. They've already done. If your child makes his or her bed, resist the urge to go and smoothen the sheets. ये ठीक नहीं किया, right? Let it be. They will eventually learn. Let your child solve simple problems. So when you give children a moment to solve things, you are creating the character building moments, right? Give them these little things to solve. Assign a simple chore. The goal is to make your child feel capable, contributing member of the family. Don't give them big things, but give them small things, so the accomplishment feeling, the feeling of achieving comes. So encouraging cooperation is achieved. Okay, praising children is the key. Children repeat behaviors that get attention, good or bad. So if you give them attention when they've done something bad, they will get your attention to always to do that bad thing, right? So good or bad, children repeat their behaviors. So develop also predictable routines. Children cooperate in schools because they know what's expected of them. They have a timetable. They know math is coming after, before English, or something is coming after math, and now they have to go and play. So why they cooperate in schools and not at home? Because they know what's expected of them. So the expectations need to be put on paper. Then give them advance notice before any transition. Because at school, we let children know when transitions are coming. Okay? So continue that at home as well. We don't say, okay, chalo, 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 now it's finished. You've done this. Now move on to the other. So creating the schedule helps. Tell them, okay, now we're going to finish off with this. Give you another 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and we're moving on to the next one. Give structured choices. Just be sure, if you want your child to choose option A, you have to be smart here. then your option B has to be less attractive. Don't give too attractive options for them, which it's
Same
hard
time.
for you to then give into both the options. Then avoid using if statements, right? So make requests in a language that assumes cooperation. When you put your crayons or complete your worksheet, you can go and play, and not if you put your crayons or if you complete your worksheet, you can go and play. Be very, very specific. Means you are very specific. You put your crayons away, you complete your worksheet, then you can go and play. Discipline effectively, as this is what as you need it. Your children are with you 24/7. Involve them in righting their own wrongs. If you find them coloring or doing something that they've done on their own, have them help you out, wash it off. Don't do it all by yourself. Don't delay discipline, because if you must reprimand your child, do so immediately, not later. Like it should not be like, wait, I'll show you a little later. But do it at that point in time when you see them misbehaving. So we are sure that home-based learning and getting home, the school's home, will work out if your interaction is loving, is empathetic, and compassionate. As they say, if you do something with the correct intent and emotion, it happens. And it's going to happen in this case also. So these are my
Ma'am,
strategies. You can go on adding quite a bit, yeah.
ma'am, what would be your last thoughts for like the current conditions, the current situations, and how would it be easy for parents to handle them? And yes, of course, for the students as well.
So I would, you know, very earnestly urge parents to continue your journey of successful blended remote learning for your children, right from your early years to primary to middle, high school, if your school is providing that to you. Because this brain growth is happening now at this moment. Your resilience is something that must be built into our education system, into our teachers, and into our homes as well. And to ensure that these skills remain a priority for all of us, this is very, very important. Always spotlight on fun and play. That should be a priority, because, like, as practitioners, we do know that play builds the emotions leading to learning. Only if they're happy, they're having fun, they will learn. We do have children who have favorite teachers, and you see how why they learn from these favorite teachers is because there's an interesting way that they teach, right? It's also not necessary to see that your child is entertained 24/7. Let them get a little bored. Why should you not be afraid, or why should you be afraid of boredom? Because if you don't immediately respond to the complaint of your child that you will or that I'm bored, you will leave your child the time to find something to do on their own. This boredom and daily monotony pushes them to develop this sense of imagination, find solutions, new projects for your older ones, new ways of being themselves. And this is true for not only your kindergartners, but also for your older children and also for us. So what I hear in
Exactly.
all this is there has to be that connection, there has to be that stimulation, this warmth, this social proximity. We can listen, we can laugh, we bring about all our senses together on one platform. So in these times, when there is no physical schooling happening, the blended remote learning that your school provides every day will help your child and you. The parents, bring schools home. If your children cannot go to one, keep the learning on. Don't pause these few months of learning and the developmental cycle in K-12 years. Need of constant stimulation and connection is needed. In a situation like COVID, which is evolving every day, so the interaction between all of us, that's your parents, your schools, and teachers, is imperative for our child, right? So what we need to do is raising and educating our children that involves supporting their overall development and preparing them for life, which is,
Definitely.
as childhood or during these K-12 years, this is a blueprint of a life, as I always say. Everything from our attitude, everything from our character, our personality itself, of feeling connected, of feeling capable, of feeling courageous, or even significant, is everything we imbibe in these crucial growing up years. So, and my wish, through this platform, for also both my daughters and for all the countless karmic children that we touch in our schools, you, I, and all the educators who are here, is for them to get up, dust themselves up and move on every time the children fall. It's the biggest attribute a parent and an educator can give, to their child. So, in this everyday evolving pandemic challenges, no one person has a solution. I don't have it. I may believe in something. I may keep saying that and reiterating it, and with different on different forums with different people. But neither you have nor I have. You're just making an attempt to get to everyone and try to find solution. So we need partnerships. We need relationships to thrive. So here the parents, the schools, and the technology. We educators are keeping the attitude and positivity high for ourselves and our parents and our children. And we all are just a call away, is what I say to everybody. Just pick up the phone or just write to us if there is something. Here you have such a beautiful platform which Reena ji has created. So just write if you have any problems, we're here to solve it. So this is what I have to say. So at the end, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. I think
Thank you so much,
we
ma'am.
overshot everything, but I think it was very nice speaking to you, Miss
Yeah, we've
Reena.
nearly touched every aspect, where we need to get the kids, parents, and everybody involved. In fact, during the entire session, you gave me two wonderful ideas. Like, one is to start a same session like this, a live session of storytelling and puppet shows, which I guess the kids are going to love.
Of
I
course,
would
let's do that.
request, very soon I'll be announcing it, and
Very
I would
nice.
request all the parents, all the principals, all the teachers watching us to please tell your parents to subscribe to our channel C's group, because it'll be live on Facebook and YouTube, and we will definitely bring up some really good storytellers from across the globe, where I am already like thinking whom all to call. And definitely it is going to be
Yeah,
something different, something unusual, where everybody can come together and imbibe some good ethics, some good logic, some empathy, sympathy for everybody around you. Thank you so much, Kusum ma'am, for giving us your time.
it was
Thank you
wonderful
so
being with
much.
you. Thank you so much.
Same here. It's always wonderful being with you.
Always wonderful being with you as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you so much,
Fees.
ma'am.
Thank you, Reena.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we end our session, and I would definitely be with you tomorrow with Mrs. Bhavna Maheshwari, rather. She is going to talk about online education for preschoolers, a fairy tale or a horror story. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.